Some breaking news coming on the land acquisition bill. Let's cut across to my colleague Maha Siddiqui in our Delhi studios.
Many thanks, Sudhir. Yes, important updates coming in on the land acquisition bill that the NDA government may be readying for a big climb down on its flagship land acquisition bill. Sources have revealed to India Today that the government is likely to go back to UPA 2013 land bill retrospectively. The land return review clause will be discussed. The Congress, CPIM and JDU have been seeking a total withdrawal of the proposed changes by the NDA government in the 2013 land acquisition bill. The opposition wanted the inclusion of some additional measures to further strengthen the law in favor of the farmers. Now, some of the clauses of UPA 2013 land bill are likely to be accepted or accommodated by the NDA government, which includes the social impact assessment clause and the consent clause. All right, so this comes as a big climb down for the government, which has been trying to push the land acquisition bill for the past few sessions. Now, what it appears now that the government, because of a shortage of numbers and also keeping in mind the image that the government was getting of being anti-farm and anti-poor, as well as the Bihar elections, have now forced the government to do a climb down on the land acquisition bill. What we understand is that the government is likely to include some of the clauses that they were not ready to include earlier, which is the social impact assessment clause as well as the consent clause. At least two clauses that the government is now willing to include in the land acquisition bill. Executive Editor Javed Ansari is now joining us with more details. Javed, a big climb down for the government there on a day when the opposition was crying foul over the suspension of 25 of Congress MPs from the Lok Sabha.
Yes, Maha, this is a huge acknowledgement of the ground realities in Parliament and outside. In Parliament, the BJP realizes that at least in the Rajya Sabha, it certainly does not have the numbers, and therefore it would not be politically prudent for it to try and steamroll the opposition. It also realizes that its image has taken a beating. It's been dubbed as an anti-farmer party. Outside, within the farming community, there is a tremendous amount of unrest, and it's been exploited to the hilt by the opposition parties, spearheaded by the Congress party, and therefore the BJP has decided to cut its losses and step back as far as the bill is concerned.
Javed, what are we likely to see now in Parliament? 25 Congress MPs suspended, the Aam Aadmi Party, NCP, TMC in solidarity also boycotting Parliament, but on the other hand, the government willing to do a climb down on one of the major bills that had proved to be a hurdle so far for it.
Look, Maha, what we are witnessing is not uncommon. In Parliament, political parties always, in a situation like this, strike a maximalist position, and then there's some negotiation and something gives. In a situation like this, where there was no way out, something had to give. And the BJP, it appears, has now decided that it's in their interest to cut their losses, to take a step back, and to concede on this ground, because there are far more important issues at hand. There's a GST bill. The government has 4 years to go. You cannot be in a confrontationist mode with the opposition from the word go. So there has to be some give and take. And the ultimate analysis, how much this will matter, will only be realized 4 years from now. Right now, the Bihar elections are to be held in a couple of months, and the government didn't want to take any risk, and that's why they've decided to compromise on this.
Consulting editor Rajdeep Sardesa is also joining us in the studio. Rajdeep, is it the Bihar elections, or is it also the fact that the government lacks the numbers in the Rajya Sabha that has finally forced the government to make this climb down?
Look, I don't think it's about numbers in the Rajya Sabha, because the very fact that the government has tried to push through this bill 4 times through ordinances on each occasion clearly suggested the government had dug its heels in till this session. What has happened now is the sense in the government is twofold. One, they've recognized that this parliament is not going to do any legislative business. I think the events of today have convinced the government that the opposition is not going to yield an inch, and the government doesn't want to also reach out to the opposition beyond a point. So there's a logjam, and therefore you're in a situation where no legislation will take place in this monsoon session. Number two, soon after the monsoon session, all eyes will be on the Bihar elections, which are slated for October, November. The perception seems to have gone on the ground that the land bill is being seen to be anti-farmer, and the government cannot risk that ahead of this critical election for the BJP in particular. In that situation, best to cut your losses. If necessary, try and bring in the amendments that you want to in the winter session of Parliament, where perhaps there isn't an immediate election on the anvil, and thereby try and build some kind of a consensus till November. May not happen, in which case the 2013 land bill will remain as it is.
Right.
But the sense one is getting, and I'm waiting for that suspense that you've said, which is building over Narendra Modi ji's tweet, where he has said we are expecting an important announcement. We'll have to see what the announcement really is. Is it about the land bill? Is it about Parliament itself? And the manner in which today 25 MPs have been suspended? I think we need to see what the Prime Minister has to say on these issues before we get clarity as to exactly what is happening. Because what the sense one is getting is that, and I'm going purely by Mr. Modi's past, he's not the kind of person who tends to climb down very easily. So I would really like to wait and see what this land acquisition bill amendments that the government is ready to forsake now, before saying that it is a complete climb down on the part of the Narendra Modi government. For me, the interesting story today really is the fact that the government has gone ahead and suspended, or Speaker has suspended 25 Congress MPs. It means that this situation now has reached the point of no return.
And Rajdeep, it does appear from what you're saying at the moment about 25 Congress MPs having been suspended, and the opposition is going ahead and not attacking the Speaker directly, but saying that this is happening because of the government, which has not been able to generate a consensus in Parliament despite repeated meetings. So with that, and now this climb down on the land acquisition bill, that is likely because right now sources are telling us this. So do you think that the government is pushed to the corner? At least the image that they were trying to build for themselves, that this is a government out to perform, is taking a beating?
Look, I think all this, it's premature at the moment to sort of suggest that what is happening in Parliament is damaging the image of the government or of the opposition. What is clear is the battle lines are drawn. The government is saying that the opposition is irresponsible, that the opposition is disruptive, that the opposition doesn't want Parliament to function. The opposition, on the other hand, is saying that the Narendra Modi government is dictatorial. The Narendra Modi government is following what is being called the Gujarat model, where Mr. Modi would often suspend opposition MLAs when similar situations were found to exist in Gujarat. So I think the sense one is getting is that there is a breakdown in relationship between the government and the opposition. That's very clear. You saw Sonia Gandhi's statements this morning to the Congress Parliamentary Party. They were tough, they were direct, and they were directed at Mr. Modi. Suggesting he was only engaging in marketing, he was Mon Modi. These were hitting the Prime Minister directly. And I expect at some stage the BJP to hit back at Sonia Gandhi and the Congress. So I think we are in that stage. We are waiting, as you said, for the Prime Minister to respond, because I think it is critical to hear the Prime Minister as to where he stands on this Parliament issue. He's remained silent so far on this entire Parliament impasse. There was a belief that the Prime Minister may speak. He's chosen not to do so. So we have to wait to see what he says.
All right. Some information coming in that Rajnath Singh, the Home Minister, Manohar Parrikar, the Minister for Defence, and Amit Shah, BJP President, are also present at the moment at 7 Racecourse Road. That's the Prime Minister's residence. An important announcement is likely. Now, with Manohar Parrikar being present, Rajdeep, can we take a guess that perhaps this announcement could be in relation to OROP?
I'm waiting to see what the announcement is. Look, the Prime Minister wants to somehow or the other change the mood at the moment.
Yes.
He's been looking for something where, and Mr. Modi is very good at this. He's looking for something where he can, in a sense, capture the narrative. What has been the narrative over the last few days? Parliament logjam. Now, can he come up with an issue where he is seen to have taken a stand, or he is able to reach out and fulfill one of his electoral promises? Could it be OROP? We'll have to wait and see. There's been much speculation that OROP could be on the cards. We don't know at the moment. I hesitate to speculate, but obviously the very fact that he's called the Home Minister and Amit Shah and Manohar Parrikar clearly suggests that the Prime Minister is preparing for a major announcement. And since he has used the word landmark in his tweet, It could be Europe, but it could well go beyond that. There are other issues that, the Prime Minister could well be raising, including the land bill, which we've been saying is also seen to be a critical part of his government's legislative agenda. So we have to see whether the Prime Minister Narendra Modi makes the kind of announcement that really shifts both the legislative and the political agenda of the country. So I don't want to speculate on it, but all I can say is Narendra Modi has the ability to try. In the past we've seen with him the ability to seize the moment, and now at a stage when he's slightly on the back foot, can he seize the moment is the big question.
All right, NSC and IM top leaders also present there. What we also know is that Minister of Defence Manohar Parrikar is present, Home Minister Rajnath Singh is present, Amit Shah is also present. Let's quickly listen in to what is happening at the moment.
Delegation of Naga leaders. To commence this historic occasion, may I now invite Mr. R.N. Ravi to take his place on behalf of the Government of India. May I now invite Mr. T. Muiva, General Secretary of the National Socialist Council of Nagaland, to come for the signing ceremony.
आइए भगवान प्लीज in the center.
All right, remember Home Minister Rajnath Singh, this is some information that we are sharing with you at the moment, had on the 12th of July said that the Naga problem will be resolved soon as the talks with rival rebel group, and this he was saying in the context of NSC and K, saying that the talks with NSC and IM was going on the right pace and right direction, and the problem would be resolved soon. He had said, I can specifically say, when it will be resolved, the government is very serious about the Naga peace process, and talks with NSC and IM are on the right track. What we are seeing today is the Naga Peace Pact being signed there. The Prime Minister there present with the Home Minister Rajnath Singh. The Minister of Defence Manohar Parrikar, also present is BJP President Amit Shah. NSC and IM top leaders present there at the event at 7 Racecourse Road.
I thank God for this momentous occasion. On behalf of the Chairman, Mr. Achek Chishisu, and the Naga people, kindly allow me to begin by saying that Naga people have great respect for Mahatma Gandhi because he understood and respected the Nagas when the Nagas delegation met him for the first time in 1947. Unfortunately, after the Naga delegation met him, after his demise, the Indian state resorted to military might to crush the Nagas. Arms confrontation followed, inflicting heavy losses on both the parties. After a long fighting, Mr. Narasimha Rao, the then Prime Minister of India, had the courage to admit that it is a political issue and should be solved through political negotiation. We appreciated his wisdom and accepted the ceasefire agreement to start political negotiations in 1997. We gave our commitment to him that NSCN shall leave no stone unturned to find a negotiated amicable settlement between the two parties. The Nagas were very happy when the government of India, under the leadership of the then Prime Minister of India, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, declared the recognition of the unique history and situation of the Nagas in 2002. We Nagas appreciated the statesmanship of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and we gave our commitment that if the government of India would understand the reality of the Nagas would appreciate the reality of India even 10 times more, and we never backtrack from our commitment. Today, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, we have come close to understand each other and have worked out a new relationship between the two parties on the basis of the uniqueness. We appreciate your wisdom, your leadership, and your vision to build an enduring relationship between the Nagas and Indians. The Nagas will ever remember you for your statesmanship and your profound understanding of the Nagas with warm heart for them. Beginning from now, the challenges will be great, so also the responsibilities. The obligation to meet the needs of the people shall be paramount for both the parties to make this historic endeavor more meaningful. Let me also assure you that Nagas can still come closer if their rights are respected. On behalf of the Naga people, allow me to assure you once again that the Nagas can be trustworthy and take into your confidence for any policy in the Northeast and beyond the frontiers. God bless you and your leadership. Koknalim. Thank you.
All right, that's the Naga peace talks, Naga peace accord that has been signed there with the NSC and IM. Remember, the Home Minister had said that the NSC and K pulling out will have no effect as the NSC and IM, the government was very close to signing a pact. That is exactly what we are seeing at 7 Racecourse Road today. The Prime Minister present there along with Home Minister Rajnath Singh. The Defence Minister is also apparently present at the occasion. Amit Shah, BJP President, also present.
अब मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि अपना वक्तव्य दें. May I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to deliver his remarks on this historic occasion.
Sri Rajnath Singh ji, Home Minister, Sri Maua, and all senior leaders of the National Socialist Council of Nagaland. My warm greetings to all those present here today on this historic occasion. I wish that Sri Isaac Su, who played a leading role in reaching this agreement, was present today. He could not be here because of poor health. I wish him speedy recovery. Just as his contribution to this agreement has been huge, his guidance will remain crucial in the times ahead. The Naga political issue had lingered for 6 decades, taking a huge toll on generations of our people. I sincerely thank Sri Isaac Su, Sri Muiwa, and other Naga leaders for their wisdom and courage, for their efforts and cooperation, which has resulted in this historic agreement. I have the deepest admiration for the great Naga people, for their extraordinary support to the peace efforts. I compliment the National Socialistic Council of Nagaland for maintaining the ceasefire agreement for nearly 2 decades with a sense of honor that defines the great Naga people. My relationship with the Northeast has been deep. I have traveled to Nagaland on many occasions. I have been deeply impressed by the rich and diverse culture and the unique way of life of the Naga people. It makes not only our nation but also the world a more beautiful place. The Naga courage and commitment are legendary. Equally, they represent the highest levels of humanism. Their system of village administration and grassroots democracy should be an inspiration for the rest of the country. The respect for the infirm and elders, the status of women in society, sensitivity to Mother Nature, and the emphasis on social equality is a natural way of Naga life. These are values that should constitute the foundation of the society that we all seek. Unfortunately, the Naga problem has taken so long to resolve because we did not understand each other. It is a legacy of British rule. The colonial rulers had, by design, kept the Nagas isolated and insulated. They propagated terrible myths about Nagas in the rest of the country. They deliberately supported the reality that the Nagas were an extremely evolved society. They also spread negative ideas about the rest of the India among Naga people. This was part of the well-known policy of divide and rule of the colonial rulers. It is one of the tragedies of independent India that we have lived with this legacy. There were not many like Mahatma Gandhi who loved the Naga people and was sensitive to their sentiments. We have continued to look at each other through the prism of false precedents and old prejudice. The result was that connectivity between Nagaland and the rest of India remained weak across this divide. Economic development and progress in Nagaland remained modest, and durable peace was elusive since becoming Prime Minister last year. Peace, security, and economic transformation of Northeast has been among my highest priorities. It is also at the heart of my foreign policy, especially the Act East policy have been deeply concerned about resolving the Naga issue soon after entering office. I appointed an interlocutor for talks with the Naga leaders who not only understood the Naga people as also their aspirations and expectations, but has great affection and respect for them. Given the importance of this initiative, I asked my office to supervise these talks, and I personally kept in touch with the progress. I want to especially thank my senior colleague, Home Minister Sri Rajnath Singh Ji, who supported and advised, was invaluable in bringing us here today. Today's agreement is a shining example of what we can achieve when we deal with each other in a spirit of equality and respect, trust and confidence, when we seek to understand concerns and try to address aspirations, when we leave the path of dispute and take the high road of dialogue. It is a lesson and an inspiration in our troubled world. Today, we mark not merely the end of a problem, but the beginning of a new future. We will not only try to heal wounds and resolve problems, but also be your partner as you restore your pride and prestige. Today, to the leaders and the people of Nagaland, I say this: you will not only build a bright future of Nagaland, but your talents, traditions, and efforts will also contribute to making the nation stronger.
The Naga Peace Accord has been signed and sealed. The pact has been signed with NSC and IM. Remember, NSC and K had abrogated the ceasefire recently, but the peace accord has been signed with NSC and IM at the Prime Minister's residence at 7.